Good morning. Earlier, I was sitting there and someone asked me, why is Rubrik in this forum? Okay. I joined Rubrik about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I've seen a similar stat saying that in about 10 years, we will see one ransomware attack in 10 seconds. But when I was preparing for this slide, the stats changed. They're saying that in 10 years, we will see one ransomware attack in every 2 seconds. In fact, the Australian government is saying that in Australia, they are now seeing one attack every 2 seconds, or every 10 seconds. No. So we've heard about where your data is for sale, how you can fortify and defend your infrastructure. But if you've heard about the MGM attack that happened about 1.5 months ago, the hackers are not breaking in. They were able to log in to MGM's infrastructure. That's simply by finding someone who worked for MGM on LinkedIn. I'm sure everybody's on LinkedIn. No. So they found someone that's working for MGM. They was able to get the password by calling tech support, and tech support just gave them the password, maybe bypassing MFA, and they were able to get in, control the entire MGM infrastructure. No. The main purpose of that is, number one, to exfiltrate or download sensitive data and then ask for a ransom. MGM never paid, but they lost about $100 million worth of revenue in about 10 days. The hackers now also are operating like companies like yours, like ours. They have ethics. They changed. If you've heard about the press release from the Black Cat ransomware, they said that when they started hacking MGM, they never deployed the ransom. They told MGM that we're in control of your infrastructure, so you have to pay the ransom. They didn't deploy the ransom at first. But when MGM didn't respond, then they exploded everything. MGM was down for about several days, 60 hours. Everything was down from door keys, checking in, ATM, slot machines. So they destroyed everything because MGM doesn't have any intention of paying the ransom. But they were able to download sensitive data. So again, they didn't break in. They just logged in, downloaded stuff, and bring down their business. MGM spent about $10 million for the response so that they can bring back their operations. Yep. So what happens if an attack gets through? Anyone from the government is here? So if an attack happens, if your server is down, what do? We call the Marines. So good thing the Marines are here. If your data is stolen, you can probably pay the ransom and beg them to delete every copy that they made. But you don't have guarantee that they will do that. No. If data is stolen, it cannot be undone. No, you don't have guarantee that they will return all your data. So when a breach happens, to recover from that, Gartner is saying you have to have cyber recovery. If your operations is down, you have to be able to restore or rebuild. But if data is exfiltrated, nothing can be done about it. But you have to probably make sure that before an attack happens, at least secure sensitive data in your infrastructure. Gartner released this white paper back in 2021. They're saying that if you are attacked, backup is your last line of defense in an overall cybersecurity strategy. you might be able to bring back your operations if you have a working backup. This is available in Gartner's website. You can just sign up or fill up a form and then download this. They're saying that your backup needs to be able to withstand an attack. It should be natively immutable. It has to have air gap. You have to be able to recover very quickly. And when doing the recovery, you have to be able to observe and intelligently assess what you are recovering. Rubrik has helped about 200 plus of our customers in the past 2 years. So Rubrik has helped about 200 plus of our customers who needed to recover from ransomware. No. All of those customers were able to recover their data. None said that they paid the ransom, and this is what they shared to us. I think earlier someone said the dwell time for 2023 is about just 5 days. And that's exactly what we saw in MGM. In about 5 days, everything was down. So when you need to do a recovery, I hope the security professionals here knows your infrastructure team. Most of the time, what we find in the field is that you guys don't know who manages your backups. But you are aware that if you need to recover, you call the backup team. So they perform the backups. If you need to perform a recovery, if you've decided to perform that because you know that the network is clean, the adversaries are out of the infrastructure, few things that you have to address before you can actually recover. Number one, is your backup safe? Or if not coming from the backup, do you have a working copy of your data? Maybe you have DR. We all know DR can be behind or asynchronous behind by, 30 minutes, 1 day. If production is encrypted, your DR is also likely encrypted. So maybe DR is not usable to do a recovery. How about the backups? If you have a backup, inside your data store, or maybe inside the NAS, the attackers likely were able to find out that you have that. And if they were able to bring down your ESXi or your VMs, if data store is corrupted, your backup is likely also corrupted. So what do you use for restore? No? Maybe you have a copy on tape that you shipped somewhere, another province or in your house. That's a backup that you can use because that's not on the network during an attack, and the attackers were not able to encrypt that. No? So let's say you have the backup. Okay, Mr. President, we have a working copy of our data, and we can use to restore this. But the second question is, how do you know the blast radius? If that backup was taken yesterday or last week, how do we know that this backup is clean if there are no dormant malware inside that backup set? If attackers were able to get inside your network the past week, they're likely also able to plant dormant malware or ransomware in your file systems, maybe a 0-day vulnerability. So put that in on your file systems 5 days ago so that when you recover that backup, you're effectively bringing back the hack or the ransomware. So how do you assess that? Who decides which copy of your backup can be used? Your backup yesterday, your backup last week. Next question, sensitive data. If something is encrypted, it's likely downloaded. Who can assess if sensitive data is downloaded or is exposed? Maybe you have EDR, you have DLPs, you have the tools to assess that. But during the hack, it's important that very quickly we should be able to tell our stakeholders, our customers, that sensitive data is safe and is not part of the downloaded data. That's the third question. Again, when we have the backup, which backup to recover? Do we have sensitive data on the encrypted downloaded the files. Number 4 is when we actually say that, okay, we identified what to recover, are we confident that we will not be able to bring back the encryption when we recover a VM or a file? Now, if that's 0-day, who knows what payload is in there in that file, so that when you recover them, you're effectively bringing back the ransomware. Then how fast can you recover that? MGM has hundreds of ESXi that was compromised, thousands of VMs. They were back in 60 hours. Oh. How about you guys? If you need to recover hundreds of VMs, how fast can you recover that? So based on the Gartner report, they're saying that infrastructure security has to be paired with data security. It has to start from prevention and ends with recovery. If you cannot 100% guarantee that you will not suffer an outage because of ransomware, you should be able to at least tell your board that if this happens, we will be able to recover. Data resiliency, that's Gartner is saying that your backup needs to be immutable. Your backup cannot sit inside VMware or a hypervisor, because if the hypervisor is down, where do you get your backups? Your backups cannot be on an open protocol on your network, in a NAS or an object storage, because if that's compromised, they can delete your backups. So we have to have data resiliency. Make sure that the backups is your last line of defense and no one can tamper with it. Data observability, so that we can intelligently assess and decide what and when to recover and how to recover that. That's the entire premise of Zero Trust security. Everybody else is trying to protect, detect, and investigate, but you have to have data security there, so that if in case an attack gets through, you will be able to recover. Okay, so let's say your attack, you have Rubrik, you can recover from that. But if data was downloaded, will you refuse the ransom? So Rubrik cannot help you when it's already downloaded, but we can actually tell you that if you have exposed sensitive data in your file systems on the stuff that we are backing up, you could probably protect them, secure them, so that you know that when during peacetime, the developers are developing your websites, you know who can access them, you know where redundant data is, and if they have PII, you should be able to protect them before an attack. Because again, they will not give you back your data if they are able to steal it. Gartner is looking at data security posture management. This is a very new space, and Gartner is still working on with security vendors to define this space. This is essentially saying, before an attack happens, please secure your data. Know where your data is. Delete copies that are unnecessary. Know who is accessing them. Where is data taken? And stop access if it's illegal. Okay. I myself is a victim of a ransomware hack back in 2016. Anyone remember Yahoo in 2013? I hope you're not too young to remember that. In 2013, Yahoo was hacked and they exposed 1 billion records of Yahoo users. Oh. Usernames, first name, last name, and passwords. So that was 2013. But in 2016, I received an email showing me my usernames and password and asking me for $100 deposit somewhere, because if I don't do that, they will expose explicit videos in my email. Of course, I didn't pay the ransom because I don't have that in my inbox. So, but it was a direct attack to me, and I was not even the company that was attacked with the ransomware. So again, data security matters with individuals like us, myself. So if you really need to do a recovery, make sure that you have a working backup and you have assessed data security so that you have complete cyber resilience. Okay, so we have a booth there. Let us know if you want to find out more. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause once again for Mr. Fred Santarin of Rubrik for sharing how to be resilient and recover quickly in this digital age. Of course, ransomware attacks will strike every 2 seconds within the next 10 years. And he's reminding us that once data is stolen, it cannot be undone. But there are ways that we can protect ourselves. Of course, we need to prevent and then detect, investigate, and then all the way to recovery. But of course, if you can prevent it from the onset, then at least you can mitigate whatever other steps that you need to do that later on. So can you recover? Ask yourself, can we recover? What do we recover? What was stolen? When to recover? And how long will it take when you are deciding on what systems to use for your backups? There we go. So thank you once again to our presenters.